Yes. Good morning, students. So we have completed unit number 3. So I welcome you all once again for software testing class, unit number 4, session 1. So in the previous classes, unit number 3, we have discussed about static testing. Yes. So in the fourth unit is about your dynamic testing and some test case design techniques we're going to discuss. How to do what is dynamic testing and how to perform the what you call the dynamic testing. Some techniques we're going to discuss in this entire unit, what you can call that. So that is what you call dynamic testing and dynamic test case design techniques. That is what we're going to discuss in this entire unit, what you can call. Yes. In today's class, we're going to discuss about dynamic testing, review work products, and identify test objectives and test specific. This is the total topics available in this entire chapter. Yes, dynamic testing, review work products, identify test objectives, test specification and test design, and design test cases. What you call. These are the things we'll be discussing in this chapter, what you can call. Yes, fine. First is about dynamic testing, what you can. What do you mean by dynamic testing? As you're already familiar with, you know what is dynamic testing. So can somebody tell me dynamic testing? What do you mean by define dynamic testing, or what is dynamic testing? Yes, somebody define it. You know already, you know what is static testing, difference between static and dynamic. We already discussed. What is dynamic testing? Yes.
Finding the defects by running the code or executing the code.
By running or executing the program. We identify the defects or bugs in the program. By executing the program, we call that as a dynamic testing, what you can call this. So whereas in the previous chapter, we were discussing static testing, where we were not at all executing the program. So we were reviewing it, going through it, walk through inspections, and so on. We were just checking without executing the program. And even while using the static tools, what we did, the entire program was given as an input, and what are the bugs, what are the mistakes, all those the tool was going to report it. But here in the dynamic testing, we are executing the code or compiling the code, and then we are going to identify the defects. What you are doing? Like for example, your DA program, you execute it. When you execute after compilation and when you run the program, it will show you the errors if there are any. If there are no errors, it will generate, it will give you the output based on the input. It will ask you to enter some values, and then it's going to generate the output. So that is what in the same thing here also we do. We execute the program, and then we what you call identify the defects. That is what you call dynamic testing. That dynamic testing, the software is compiled, or softwares are compiled and executed in order to find out defects, what you can call it. Dynamic procedure is to be carried out meticulously. So there are various steps involved in dynamic testing. All these steps we'll be discussing that. So reviewing work products, the various steps associated with dynamic testing is as follows that. So reviewing work product, first one, identify test objectives, identify test specification and carry out design, design test cases, document test cases, execute test cases, generate incident report, and log the defects. Yes, that is what. So these are the various steps. So in today's class, we'll be discussing the first four steps. We're going to discuss it in the case of what are the 4 steps: reviewing work products, identify test objectives, test specification, and design test cases. 4 steps we're going to discuss in the dynamic testing. Yes, somebody go through this.
Dynamic testing, the software is compiled and executed in order to find out defects. Dynamic procedure is to be carried out meticulously. The various steps associated with dynamic testing is listed below. Review work products, identify test objectives, identify test specification and carry out test design, design test cases, document test cases, execute test cases, generate incident report, log the defects. That is prepare defect list.
Okay, that is preparing the defect list. Yes, that is what we call dynamic testing. So that is what your unit is. Your basically dynamic testing, and dynamic testing requires the following steps we're going to discuss. One by one, we shall discuss the steps. It's fine. Next, the first step is review work products. What do you mean by review work products? As and when a software product is taken up for testing, when you're testing, one has to go through the product details that have been prepared during the various stages of software development. What we need to do, we need to go through all the, what you call, the various phases or the requirements. SRS is the requirement specification phase, the design phase, coding phase, and the last one is your testing phase. So you need to go through the all the various stages of your project or the product, what you can call that. That is what you call reviewing. So go through the product details that have been prepared during the various stages of software development. So the major work products or various phases are there. So that is what we have seen. The major work products that contribute the development of a software product are SRS document, that is software requirement specification document you need to check, the design document, the source code, or the draft user manual. If you generate any manual, you need to check it. You need to check you should go through the SRS document, you should go through the design document, you should go through the source code, and if any manual is there, you should go through it. These work products help the development of test specification, that is what to be tested, or the test entities, what you can call. Yes, review work products. So that is the first step. You need to go through SRS, design document, source code, and manual, if any. So if you go through this, then you can identify what is the purpose of the software, what is the how they have designed it, and what you need to test it. Yes, go through this, somebody.
As and when a software product is taken up for testing, one has to go through the work product details that have been prepared during the various stages of software development. Major work products that contribute the development of a software product are the SRS document, the design document, the source code, the draft user manual, if any. Those works products help the development of test specification.
Yes, that is what we call review work products, what you can call. That is the step number one. You should go through all these documents so that you can identify what is to be tested. Yes, fine. That is first step. Fine. Next, some other things what we need to go through. To be more precise, the entity or object based on which you develop a test specification is termed as test basis. You need to identify the functionality. Is what you should do. What is the entity or the object based on which you develop a test specification is termed as test basis. Based on the functionality, based on the purpose of the software, what is the function of the software, you need to test it, what you can call. So based on the functionality, you need to identify what you can call the test cases, what you call. Or the test basis, what you call. So to be more precise, the entity or object based on which you develop a test specification is termed as test basis. The test basis can be functional specification, a design strategy, or some part of the source code that can be identified with the work product. What can be the test basis? The test basis is nothing but your functionality of the software or a design strategy or any source code that is identified. So based on that, you're going to write the test cases there. So that is what you call. You need to be more careful and identify what is for what function or what is the functionality of the software, what is the design of the software. Based on that, you need to do the testing, what you can call. Or you need to write the test cases. Quick overview of various products pertaining to the software under test has to be made by testers. Yes, so they need to write the test cases for the particular functionality, what you can call. A continuous touch or familiarity of the work products concerned is suggested as they provide test basis for writing detailed test specification for the software under test. So if you go through this, all the functionality or design or SRS, so it will be easier for the test designers to write the test cases there. If you do not know anything, then you cannot write the test cases at all there. So it's better to go through the products so that they can write the test cases in detail there. That is what you call review work products. Yes, go through this, somebody.
To be more precise, the entity or object based on which you develop a test specification is termed as test basis. The test basis can be functional specification, a design strategy, or some part of the source code that can be identified with work products. Quick overview of various work products pertaining to the software under test has to be made by testers. A continuous touch or familiarities of the work product concerned is suggested as they provide test basis for writing detailed test specifications for the software under test.
Yes, that is what you call review work products. Yes, fine. Next, that is the first step, reviewing work product. Next is to identify test objectives. So the second step in dynamic testing is to identify the test objectives. So if you go through, or if you review the product, then you can understand what is the aim, what you are doing, what is the design, what is the SRS, what is the specification, and so on. Now, after going through the product or reviewing the work product, then you need to identify the objectives of testing that. Yes, after going through the software's work products thoroughly, it is important to identify testing objectives. First objective of testing is to be verify whether the given software meets and or satisfy all the functional requirement, that is the functionality of the software. So what you need to identify, first objective is your software is meeting the functionality. What is the main purpose? So whether it is meeting that main purpose or not. If it is meeting, then only you're going to test it. If it is not meeting, that means your software, your design is totally wrong, what you can call that. So always the first objective is to check whether the functionality of the software or the functionality of the software or the requirements of the customer are met or not. We need to check it. That is what is the first objective of the test engineer, what I call. The next step is to be study details of various other quality requirements of the software product and list out as to what are all the quality parameters that need to be tested. As you have seen, there are so many requirements, like functional as well as non-functional requirement. So some non-functional requirement which are essential for that, or like maybe performance or efficiency and security and so on, which are related to that particular project. Those we need to test it. So the next step is to study details of various quality requirement of the software product and list out as to what are all the quality parameters that needs to be tested. Then test objectives specify the various quality attributes that are required to be tested for the given software product. So what we call the test objective, first of all, we'll identify the functional requirements, functionality of the software is we tested. Then what are the quality parameters for quality requirement. Then the conclusion is what the test objective specifies the various quality attributes that are required to be tested for the given software product. Yes, that is what we are going to do in the second step, that is identify the test objectives. Yes, continue.
Identify test objectives. After going through the software work products truly, it is important to identify testing objectives. First objective of testing is to be verify whether the given software meets and or satisfy all functional requirements or functionality of software. The next step is to be study details of software, various quality requirements of the software product and list out as to what are all the quality parameters that need to be tested. The test objectives specify the various quality attributes that are required to be tested for the given software product.
Next, so what are the quality parameters, the attributes? Some of the quality attributes or quality parameters that are to be tested are listed as follows, like safety, usability, code coverage, security, reliability, conformance to a standard, portability, performance, external hardware or software refers. These are all the parameters you may test, all or the parameters which are relevant to that particular project. You need to test it there. So you sometimes, if you want to what you call the company is testing all the parameters, you need to test for all the parameters or all the attributes, quality attributes, or a few among these you may they may test for only a few attributes. So based on the requirement of your project, you need to identify the attributes and you need to do testing that. Yes, some of the attributes are given below that. Yes, safety, usability, code and code coverage and so on. Yes, somebody go through this.
Some of the quality attributes are quality parameters that are to be tested are list out as follows: safety, usability, code coverage, security, reliability, conformance to a standard, portability, performance, external hardware and software interfaces.
Interfaces. Yes, these are the object. That is what you call identifying the test objectives. There is fine. Yes, that is the second step what we discussed. The first one was reviewing the work product, and second one was the identifying the test objectives. And third step number 3 is test specification and test design. You need to identify the specifications and you need to what you can call the test designer. Test specification describes the overall requirement of testing the software. Test specification specifies what are all to be tested. What the specification will do, what are all the things you need to do testing, that is given in step number 3 there. So it specifies the overall requirements of testing the software. Yes, it is what you call what are all to be tested. These test specifications are obtained from the test basis and risk factors to be accommodated. These test specifications are obtained from the test basis and risk factors to be accommodated. The test basis comprise documentation available on the software products, functional specifications, design strategy, etc. with respect to various work products. Here, what does it contains? The test specification, what you call the test basis. What are the risk factors? So there may be so many risk factors may be there. What are all those things you need to identify that? And it includes some documentation related to the software product, document related to specification, what you call document related to design, all those things are. So the test cases, what you develop is based on the documentation related to software, document related to functional requirement, document related to design, and so on. That based on the documentation, you're going to develop the test cases. Yes, fine. The test specification can also be formulated based on some of the answers to the following questions. Does non-functional tests have been conducted? Is whether, as you've seen, functional as well as non-functional requirements. So whether non-functional requirements have been tested or not, and what types, then that all. These are the things what you need to answer them. Does additional tests are carried or are necessary to conduct even after black box and white box testing? So whether you need to do some additional testings are required. Does structural testing required? All these things questions are you need to answer. Or based on this, what you can call you can develop the test cases. The test specification can also be formulated based on the following questions. Yes, fine. Let's go through this, somebody.
Test specification and test design. Test specifications describe the overall requirements of testing the software product. Indeed, test specifications specify as what are all to be tested. These test specifications are obtained from the test basis and risk factors to be accommodated. The test basis comprise documentations available on the software product, functional specification, design strategy, etc. with respect to various work products. Test specifications can also be formulated based on answering the following questions. Does non-functional tests have to be conducted? What types? Does additional tests are necessary to conduct even after black box and white box testing? Does structural testing required?
Yeah. So based on this, you can develop the test cases. What are the things to be tested? You're going to identify. That is the step number 3. We call test specification and test design. That is fine. Yes. Does next some of the questions what you need to answer. Does conformance testing needed? Any special requirements to be met, or any operational testing has to be needed? Or if so, how long to conduct beta testing, at how many places, and so on. Does acceptance testing needed? If so, and what type? All these questions you need to answer that. So if you identify all these answers, then based on this, you can develop the test cases. Conformance testing, any special requirements, or operational testing, where you want to do it, which location, and beta testing for how many days, yes, how long, maybe 1 month or 2 months, and which places or which countries, yes, whether we require acceptance testing, and where what type of acceptance testing, and so on. So based on these questions, you're going to what you can call develop the test cases. Yes, so test specification can be formulated by based on answering to the following question. Based on this, if it is yes or no, then where it is, and so on, then the test engineer can identify the test cases, what you can call. Yes, go through this.
Does conformance testing needed? Any special requirements to be met? Does operational testing needed? If so, how long to conduct beta testing? At how many places? Does acceptance testing needed? If so, what type?
So if based on all these questions, yes, they can identify the test cases, test specification as well as called, and the test design techniques they can identify, what you can call. Yes, fine. Next. So test design procedure involve the following activities. What is that? Identifying the testing environment. In which environment we are going to do it, the testing environment. The tools are there. Some to which tools you may use it there. Then what are the instruments required? Like for example, you're testing some electronic components, you require some instruments, or you are checking what you can call your LAN cable. For example, when you perform a connector RJ45 connected to a cable, you are having a LAN tester, whether the connector what you have connected is properly or not. You require a tool, LAN tester tool is there. That is an instrument, what you can call. So identifying some instrument testing instruments, identifying necessary automated software testing tools. Which software tools are required for you? Yeah, for testing the functionality of for non-performances, non-functional requirement, you may require some tools. Which tools are required? Then formulate test case specifications and the test data, generate test scripts, code, you will be writing a small code. Then identify the requirements for driver software, simulators, stubs to be written, what software is required, what stubs are required, what you can call some drivers you may require, all those things, you identify that. Then work out the test cases required for regression testing in view of pesticide paradox, symptoms of test cases. Then so identify the what are the test case required for regression testing. So regression testing is nothing but testing the code again and again until all the what you call your bugs have been identified, what you can call that. That is what you call regression testing. And in the case of pesticide paradox also, so what you can call, you need to identify the various test cases. So the test design procedure involve the following activities. Yes, somebody go through this.
Test design procedure involve the following activities: identify testing environment, identify testing instruments, identify the necessary automated software testing tools, formulate test case specifications and test data, generate test scripts, identify the requirements of driver software, simulators, stubs to be written, work out test cases required for regression testing in view of pesticide paradox, symptoms of test cases.
Yeah, so this is what the test design procedure, that is what involve the test specific to follow the following, you need to do the following activities, what you can call this. Fine. Yes, that is the step number 3. Fourth is design the test cases. Then the step number 4. Yes, what is this? What we need to do here? So you have gone through 3 steps: reviewing work product. Second is identify the test cases. Yes, the third one is what you can call the test specification and test design. And the fourth one is design the test case. What is a test case? Test case is nothing but what are the values you enter or you give. We call that as what you call a test case, what you can call this. Fine. What is that? It is to be noted that the generation of the test case or formulating a test case is the most crucial stage in testing process. And of course, designing a test case is a creative task too. Yes, what the inputs you're going to do. Like for example, you need to find the root of a quadratic equation. For quadratic equation, there are 3 types of roots are there. Roots will be equal, roots will be imaginary, and roots are distinct and equal. To find all the inputs, you need to identify 3 types of values there. There are 3 types of inputs are there. When you give 3 various types of inputs, then only you're going to get the output there, the various types are. Yes, so all such thing you need to identify. That is what we call the test case. What values you're going to give it to generate the output there. Yes, that is what we call the test case there. It is to be noted that the generation of the test case or formulating a test case is the most crucial stage in testing process. And of course, designing a test case is a creative task to them. For each and every test specification, the test cases will have to be designed for each and every test specification. As I told you, for roots of quadratic equation 3, you need to have 3 test cases. One for roots equal and distinct, one for roots equal and roots are imaginary. So you need to have 3 test cases in that way. Like one more example, like what you can call you design the calculator program and you're doing, suppose 4 operations are there: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So for addition, 1 set of test cases. For subtraction, you need to test when subtracting, getting the correct result or not, multiplication and division. So 4 set of test cases you need to enter. Yes, fine. That is what you call each test case. For 4 different operations, 4 different values you need to test it. That is what you call each for different test cases, what you call. You need to enter different values for different operations, what you can call. Yes, fine. Fine. Next, it is also possible that there can be 1 or more test cases for a single test specification also there. So there can be 1 or more for a single test case also. There can be more than 1 test case for a single test specification. So it's possible more than 1 test case is also possible. It's fine. Next, test case design procedures involve the following activities. What are the things to be done in the test cases? You're designing test cases. Identify the inputs, test inputs, identify the data, then identify the entry criteria, and identify the exit criteria. When you give the input, we call that as entry criteria. When the output is generated, we call that as the exit criteria. You have seen in the previous chapter what you call the input criteria and the exit criteria. So these are the things what you need to identify, the activities in the test case design: test inputs, test data, entry criteria, and exit criteria. Let's go through this summary.
It is to be noted that the generation of the test case or formulating a test case is the most crucial stage in testing process, and of course designing a test case is a creative task too. For each and every test specification, the test case will have to be designed. It is also possible that there can be one or more test case for a single test specification. Test case design procedures involve the following activities: identify test inputs, identify test data, identify entry criteria, identify exit criteria.
Yes, so that is about your design test cases, what you can call. In addition to that, there are other things what we need to do in the test cases. What is that? So that is formulate test procedures, write the scripts. You need to write a small, if any, if required. Script is nothing but small program. Then write the drivers if required, or stubs if any. Then identify the expected test results which include error messages, if any. Like for example, you're finding the roots of the roots of a quadratic equation. When you enter all the values as 0, a, b, c, you're entering the a, b, c value there to find the root. Ax square plus bx plus c is your quadratic equation. So you'll be entering the value of coefficient a, b, and c. If you enter 0, 0, and 0, all the three values, then it is invalid. It is not a equation at all there. So when you enter such values, immediately your program should respond that invalid values, enter the valid value, something. So it should give the messages there. So whether the messages, such messages are being generated or not, you need to test it. Formulate the test procedure, then write the test scripts, a small code, or write the drivers, or identify the expected test results, yes, which include some any error messages, etc. Yes. Then test cases must be formulated such that they must cross-check or evaluate the specific functionality or quality attribute of the software product under test. So the test cases, you should check the functionality of the software, and also you should check the quality attributes, whichever relevant to that particular project. As you have seen, usability, conformance of standards, or what do you call security, and so on. Yes, whatever it is. Yes, fine. The following two criteria are used to design test cases. There are two. What is that? Reliability and validity. What is that? Accordingly, a set of test cases can be considered as reliable if they detect all errors or bugs or defects. When we can say that your test cases are reliable, when it will identify all the bugs in a particular program, then we can say that your software is reliable. Similarly, a set of test cases can be considered as valid if at least one test case reveals the error or bugs. So when can we say that valid? So when a test case is considered as valid, if at least one test case reveals the error, that is what you can call. So reliability, if it detects all error or bugs, then valid means what? If it identifies at least one error, we can call that what you call your test cases are valid, what you can call that. So that is about your designing the test cases. Yes, somebody go through this. The activities of design test cases. Yes, go through somebody.
Design test cases.
Yeah. Write test script, if any, write drives, stubs, if any, identify the expected test result, which include error message, if any. Test cases must be formulated such that they must cross-check and evaluate the specific functionality or quality attribute of the software product under test. The following two criteria are used to design the test cases: reliability, validity. Accordingly, a set of test cases can be considered as reliability if they detect all. Similarly, a set of test cases can be considered as reviews or bugs.
Fine. Next is, so what are the guidelines to be followed? What you can call that? What are the guidelines to be followed? Guidelines to be followed while designing the test cases. Test case must be simple. For one input, it should generate only one output. What you can call it. For one input, only one output should be generated. Test case must reveal error. Whatever the test case you have written, they should generate or they should identify the errors. Reveal. Test case must resemble the actual usage of the software. Yes, based on the input out, what you can call it should be similar to your actual software, you can call. Then use checklists for designing the test cases. As you've seen, there are various checklists are there. Checklists for what you call web pages, what you call checklist for GUI interface, and so on. Yes. So based on the, you should use the checklist for designing the test cases. Then design separate test cases for every quality parameter. You've seen there are so many quality parameters are there. usability, security, yes, conformance standards, and so on. For each parameter, identify the separate test cases. Make use of both valid as well as invalid inputs for test case design. As I told you, to find the quadratic root of equation, if you enter all zeros, the program should respond that they are the values are invalid. So check for valid values as well as for invalid inputs. Both you should do. Like for example, you are finding a square root of a number. If you enter a negative number -5, you cannot find the square root of a negative number. So immediately the program should respond that invalid number. Enter only positive numbers, something like that. So that is, you should test for both valid as well as invalid values. Then test cases must not be redundant, similar ones or duplicated. So say the test case or every test case should be different. It should not be the same, similar. It should not be duplicated. What the test case written for the other operator, the same, it should not be there. Always it should be different, what you can call. Test cases must not be redundant or similar ones or duplicates, what you can call. Yes, that is about your designing the test cases. So with this, we have completed your today's class. Yes, that is session unit number 4 you have started, the dynamic testing you have started, and we have discussed about the various steps. Dynamic testing involves various steps. So the 4 steps what we discussed today. So it includes the following steps. Out of this, we have discussed 4 steps: review work products, identifying the test objectives, identify the test specification and carry out design, and design test cases. So these are the steps involved for dynamic testing. So remaining steps we shall continue in the next class. Yes, fine. Thank you, one and all.